I'm Becky Birdsong. I am an education professor here at LaTourneau University, and I would like to go over the steps of writing a lesson plan. So if you will find the example lesson plan and have it open as I'm going through this, it would be very helpful for you. This course, EDUC2023, was designed to help you find creative ways to teach objectives to students. You know, anyone can pass out a worksheet. The best way for students to remember information that you're teaching them is by hands-on active learning. Will you use worksheets periodically? Absolutely you will. But always think of an active activity first. You know, if you have a worksheet, think of creative ways to turn that worksheet into an active activity. There's so many ideas that you can do to just turn that. A huge word in education is modeling. And so what we want to do, you model for the students and show them what your expectations are. And the better that you do this and model for them, the better your products are going to become from your students. Show them by doing it first, and that's the way most people learn best. So when you first start teaching, make sure you have real detailed lesson plans. They're just a must because they will help you so much when you're in the middle of a lesson and you have all of those things going on. Have everything you need ready to go before you start. Downtime is trouble time. When you lose the student's attention, be overly prepared. Overly. In the plan, look at your plan now, your example plan. Go ahead and fill out the top part, and this will help you reference it and save it for a later date. Your materials, this is really, really important because that way you know that you'll have everything right there ready for you to do. Make sure you include everything. Make sure you include links. Make sure that you include everything that you need and that you're totally prepared. The next part is the TEKS, which are the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. And this is what the state has for all students to learn. This should be the very first thing that you write. You must decide first what you're going to teach, and the actual TEKS need to be copied into your lesson plan so that you'll have them and you can refer to it right there. The ELPs are also required by the state of Texas, and they help ensure that bilingual students are addressed in your lesson. They are addressed listening, speaking, reading, and writing, which is a part of every lesson that you do. Okay, your instructional objectives. Now, your objective is what drives your lesson. Just as you have learned in the first part of this week about taking your TEKS and writing into objectives, this is what you're trying to teach the students. Be sure and make them measurable and observable because at the end of the lesson, you're going to assess your students to see what they have been taught and to see if they have learned what you've taught them. In the plan, the first objective is knowledge-based, if you'll notice in the example lesson plan. But the second one is a higher level, and they are to create a diagram and show that they understand. Okay, now we're going to get into the lesson part. The anticipatory set or focus. This is where you hook them. You get them excited about what they're going to learn. They get interested. In the example lesson plan, she's used a funny poem. Now, you could sometimes come dressed up as someone, don't say anything, pique their interest. You could have something sitting in the middle of the room that they keep asking about. You could have caution tape over the door, but this is the whole thing to hook them and get them excited about what you're going to teach them. This is important. All right, here we go into the modeling. Remember why I said modeling was so important? Model them, show them, teach them. In the plan, the teacher has done different motions to help them. They're learning about the water cycle. Help them understand that they're going over a skit, preparing them for a skit. They're not just listening, they're not just sitting there, and you're not just talking and teaching them. This is where you do your teaching by doing, okay? In the guided practice, this is we do together. You have done I do, the teacher teaches. We do is the guided. Okay, so what you're going to do is we're going to guide them, just as it says. They're doing actions together. They're completing a skit together in the example lesson plan, and you guide them. You're always there as a guide and assistance. So what we're doing is we're doing what we call scaffolding, where we're gradually letting go of what we're having them to do, okay? The next part is the independent practice, just as it says, is you do, okay? I've taught you, I've guided you, now you do it by yourself. This is a test to see if they have learned what you taught them. Did they learn your objective? In the lesson, an active learning activity is used. The students will always remember these active activities. This is what learning is all about. Anything active, anything doing, the kids are going to come back later and say, oh, I remember that because we made a such and such. Okay, the next part is the assessment. As they are completing activity, you're assessing them. You remember those measurable activities, the objectives that you said at the beginning? This is where you have to look and see, did they learn what I taught them? As they're completing this activity in the example lesson plan, they're coming to the teacher to assess what they've learned. Did they fulfill the 80% accuracy? If they did not pass, if they did pass, they get the water. If they did not, they will go into the reteach phase. You may not need to do a reteach, but if you do, it must be a different activity. They didn't get it the first time, so you need to teach it in a different way. Now, in the assessment can be a test. Assessment can be totally observation. It can be all kinds of ways that you choose to assess your students to see if they have learned the objective by your measurable way that you taught, you set up in your objective. Okay, now the reteach, it needs to be a different activity, like I said. It needs to be something totally different because, again, they did not get it the first time, so you need to do it in a different way. You may not always have a reteach, but always have something ready. The enrichment, do not let this just be busy work. This is to help extend their knowledge of your objective in a higher level. Take it to a higher level. In this lesson, there was another way of helping them to remember the water cycle by making the bracelet. Okay, on both of the closures, you can do your closure before or after your reteach and your enrichment. Either way, you need to make sure to always restate your objective. Ask them higher order questioning. Always plan your questionings because we tend to ask questions in a lower level. So always plan them so you're asking in a higher level. In your teacher closure is you always restate your objective and do a celebration. Celebrate what you've learned, okay? I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you have learned a lot, and thank you for watching.